back to another episode of Live With. I am your host, Dave Palumbo, and today I'm joined by my good friend, an 8-time Mr. Olympia, the one and only Lee Haney. What is going on, man?
Hey, Dave, how you doing, my man? Hey, the last time I talked to you the other day, I heard a lot of noise in the background.
I got little ones all over the place. You got grandkids,
man.
I got kids, Lee.
What a blessing, man. So you have three.
Three.
Man, that's a blessing there. Well, I got 3 granddaughters now, so
I know
that keeps me busy.
You know, it's funny because I used to always read the magazines in the 80s and 90s, and I used to always see, you know, your kids, they were like little kids. And then I've told the story before, and I was on an airplane, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, and some guy comes up to me. I didn't really know who he was, and he's like, I just want to introduce myself. It's you know, I'm Josh Haney. And you know, of course, I know the name Haney, and it didn't register because he was a grown man. And he's like, I'm Lee Haney's son. I said, oh, my God. I said, do I feel old right now? Holy mackerel.
Man. Time flies, man. Yeah. Beard, 3 granddaughters he's given me, so life is good.
Yeah, I know. Very good. You know, I wanted to start off the interview because we have some stuff to talk about, but I want to start off the interview because I always had this question for you, and I always forget to ask it. When you were watching the Mr. Olympia, and Ronnie Coleman was going for number 9, and he went for number 9 twice, 2 times. Right. Did you think he was going to get it? And if he did, were you like, what was your mindset about that whole thing? Because I mean, that record, that 8 Olympias stood for so long, and no one ever thought anyone was going to break it.
Well, you know what? I was there when Ronnie went for that 8th one, and man, I mean, I was happy for him. I was there to congratulate him if it had happened.
Right. So,
you know, records are made to be broken. Arnold said that on my behalf when I broke his record. Right. I was there to say that on Ronnie's behalf if he had broken the record. So yeah. I was elated for him, but, you know, he didn't get there, and maybe I'm sort of glad he didn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, there had to be a little something deep down in your soul. I know you're a great guy that said, yes, he didn't beat it.
Hey, everybody likes records, man, you know?
That's right. Do you think that record will be broken one day? I know records are made to be broken, but I mean, we just haven't seen a dominant champion, you know, for such a long time since Phil Heath, and he couldn't do it.
I think it's going to stand the test of time. It's just, I mean, where bodybuilding is now is very, it's very rough, you know, and the type of training, the amount of weight that's being used. I mean, you look at Dorian. Dorian ended up with injuries, you know, as he pursued the Olympia quest. Ronnie, as you see, you know, Ronnie won his first at the age of 35. And so you got 8 years later, you're still competing. I left at the age of 31. So crazy. I had Olympia about age of 31, which meant I was still young. Yeah. My natural growth hormone level was high. I hadn't been plagued with any type of injuries. So the longer you stay, the tougher it is. I mean, if you can get in there and start winning early, I mean, like real early. I won my first at the age of 24. Right. So that makes that's the difference there. You know, trying to avoid injuries after you get past 35 is hard to do for Absolutely. 8 consecutive wins. So that's a rarity.
Ronnie started late too, which was probably worked against him a little bit too. So
yeah, that's a tough thing, man. When the growth hormone levels are high in the body, we can recover, but as we age, it gets a little bit crazy. But I mean, you look at Dexter. Dexter outlasted time, man. You know, he won the Olympia once, but he still was an Olympian, and a Mr. Olympia, and still left without injuries.
That's true. In 1992, obviously you retired the year before, 91. 92, you think you could have beat Dorian had you decided to go one more time?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. So, and see, it all depends on what the judges wanted to see.
You were getting better. I think you were still getting better because Dorian was pushing you, wasn't he?
Well, I think he was trying to get there. I don't think he was pushing me. because I mean, the photo you just put up, that says it all.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking waist and shoulder ratio, you're talking the maturity level of the physique, you know, the way we remember bodybuilding.
Right.
You know, you have to have those fine lines, and that's something that's created over a period of time. Listen, I was going in for the Olympia 8 years in a row, 9 years. I placed third in my first Mr. Olympia. It takes time to get there. And as you see, even in this picture, Dorian physique hadn't fully matured.
No.
Of course, he came back bigger the following year, but still the maturity level hadn't reached where I was when I left. And I still had the upper end on that, plus the overall symmetry. No, just as I look back at Albert Beckles, I mean, Albert placed second to me in 1985. I think Albert was around in his 50s, but his muscle maturity and the thinness of his skin was just, it was incredible. I mean, I retired never with that level of muscle maturity as Albert Beckles had. Because
you didn't train as long as he did, that's why.
What's that?
You didn't train as long as Al Beckles did. That's why.
Exactly. You know, so there you go. You answered the question there, Dave. It takes time to build muscle density and muscle maturity. It just doesn't happen overnight.
I felt, though, that you got significantly better in that last year that you competed. That's why I asked you, was Dorian, like, did you have like the mindset like, hey, this guy's coming up. He has a lot of size. No one ever was able to stand with me size-wise. I better push myself a little harder for this last Olympia?
Well, you know what made me better, Dave? It wasn't that I was in fear of Dorian, because I always knew if I could look like Arnold, Robbie Robertson, Frank Zane, and that's what bodybuilding was saying, that era was saying, that's what you need to look like. I felt I had accomplished just that. And the difference in that last Olympia was, guess what? I didn't overtrain. There we go, Dave.
Interesting.
Dave, what I had previously done the years before, about 6 weeks out, see, I would start on the 3-on-off-1 training system.
That's tough.
Which means I was training once every 5th day. But then I went to, I would go to a straight 6, 5 to 6 weeks out, which left my muscle popping not as much as I wanted them to, but okay, we're trying to get this extra definition. We want to be there. But I found out I was overtraining. So that last Mr. Olympia, I stayed on the 3-on-off-1. And guess what? My physique filled out. I went in at 254 pounds. Everything was beautiful. I felt good. I looked good. The muscle was fuller. So I said, dang it, man. I figured it out my
last year you figured it out, yeah. But you know, a lot of people do overtrain. That you hit it on the nail. I try to do those 2 body parts a week, workouts, and my body just didn't respond well to that at all.
That's right. You know, once you find the system, and see what the danger is, man. When you're on top, you're always trying to find that extra thing. What can I do differently? So I'll add this exercise. I'll do 3 more sets or something along those lines, when it can really be detrimental to your overall conditioning.
You coined the phrase "stimulate, don't annihilate." I mean, I've used that term a million times. I've quoted you on that,
Yep, and it works, man. I mean, I'm 62. I'll be 63 in November. I have no knee, no hip, no back, no joint problems whatsoever. I feel great. And it's because of living by that phrase. I mean, you look at people like Frank Zane, you look at Robbie Robertson, you look at the legends of old. These guys are still walking straight up and haven't had a bunch of surgeries because the mind and the muscle link, as I've heard them talk about so much when I was reading the magazines and growing up into bodybuilding, we always heard of that. But they never talked about using lots of heavy weights. And as a result of that, that muscle maturity happened. And as it happened, the body became a work of art. Look at Frank. I mean, and then the other thing you got to look at too, your genetic blueprint. I don't care if Frank used 8 million pounds. He still was in a class of his own with his type, his body type, and that type of physique. No heavier weight would have made Frank Zane a bigger guy.
No.
You see? So you have to stay in line with who you are genetically and work with what you have to try to make it better. Which brings to the next point. You know, when you're talking about Ramy and people trying to overmatch Ramy, you're not going to overmatch Ramy.
That's what I said.
Ramy is a genetic marvel, period.
Yep.
He's born a mass monster, you know, so you're not going to outmass him. So what you have to do is be mindful of who you are and your blueprint and work it to its very best. That's why Muhammad McCalloway waxed me, you know, in 1983, all through Europe. I mean, he gave me a good spanking because he worked with what he had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look at Labrada. Labrada was what, 50 pounds lighter than you, and he was, you know, right there.
A masterpiece, man, a masterpiece.
Yeah. Who do you like in today's bodybuilding realm? Like, what physiques do you say, hey, that's the kind of physique I'd like to see really excel? You know.
Well, my top pick in the Olympia would be Brandon Curry.
Yeah, I figured you.
I love Brandon's shape. You know, the waist, the shoulder and waist ratio. You know, everything fits in its place. I feel if Brandon come into the Olympia slice and dice, he can be victorious, but he can't leave nothing to be no questions though.
Right.
Because you're not going to beat Ramy at his deal. When you talking about going up against the Mr. Olympia, you got to knock his head off. You can't just, you know, breeze by him. It ain't going to be that way. So if he come with all of his ducks in a row, I feel he could dethrone Ramy. But that's if he come with all his ducks in a row. And Ramy is going to be better. I mean, I've seen him on Instagram. Yeah. And the fact that he also got Dennis James training him. You know, Dennis, man, he knows his stuff. He's been there, done that. So when it comes to coaches of that level, they know how to get the very best out of physique. And for the most part, it ain't about lifting 8 million pounds. They understand the importance of the mind and the muscle link, as Charles Glass, as Chris Cormier, as Milos, and as you yourself, Dave. That's the school that we come from. We know how to build a physique. You know, a lot of these guys go out and grab these coaches. Okay, who are they? What have they accomplished? Have they won the Creekwater USA? You know what I mean? So you got that kind of stuff going on.
Whose physique would you say of this modern era in the last 15 years did you like and say, you know what, I think this guy can go all the way, but maybe he just didn't have the mindset to go all the way?
Man, I'll tell you what, and I still have a picture of Cedric McMillan on my wall.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
I love Cedric. Man, I'm telling you, when I saw him in South Carolina guest posing at the Upstate Bodybuilding Championship, I'm telling you, it brought tears to my eyes. Yeah. Because I know I was looking at the next Excalibur. That is the physique of physique. That's King Arthur's best. That's what I saw. I haven't seen a physique made up like that. Other than, you know, of course you had Sean Roden. Sean was flawless. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful physique. I mean, I didn't see a flaw in Sean Roden's physique, period. Yeah. Period. Yeah. Cedric came along with height. He had size, beautiful proportion. He was, if you know, not saying I'm the only one, but he reminded me a lot of myself. He reminded me of Arnold combined together.
I wish he had your mindset. He probably would have been Mr. Olympia multiple times, I bet you.
Well, I think with Cedric, you know, Arnold had no choice but to be Arnold. He had to win. I mean, you come from across the water over here. You got to eat, man. You either swim or drown. You know, my case the same way. You know, when South Carolina, you know, man, I left everything. You know, headed out to California with the opportunity that Mr. Weeder had given me. I had to be successful. I mean, you know, I forwent a football scholarship.
Wow, you know, I didn't know that. I didn't realize
bodybuilding. Yes.
Holy mackerel! How did you turn that down, Lee?
What's that?
How did you turn down a football scholarship?
Well, man, I was in love with bodybuilding.
Wow.
This is what I wanted to do. I think Cedric had two different situations going on. He still had the military that he could, fall back on. So and God bless him for that and protecting our country. And he had bodybuilding. So he had two different areas of income and things that he was passionate about, man.
You know what? It's a very good point. I didn't consider he had a fallback. And when you have a fallback, sometimes you play it safe, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Interesting. I know you said that Rami's a marvel. What would you like to see Rami do better that maybe he hasn't done on stage?
Well, I'll tell you what, he did not peak properly this past Olympia. It took, I think, a whole day or so for his physique to start to come around a bit. Mm-hmm. He's got to be right on task this time. And I feel Dennis can help get him there, no doubt about it. So that's the thing that's going to have to help with Randy. Another thing, he's got to be careful of it. I really feel his thighs is overdeveloped. Right. I watch a lot of guys train like powerlifters when it comes to leg training. You train like a powerlifter, you're going to look like a powerlifter. Right. The beauty of the thighs and the shape of the legs and so forth. You got to be very careful with that. And I feel it's overwhelming in his on his physique, and the calves don't match his thighs. No. So there's a problem there. So he's got to be very careful with that, and I'm sure Dennis will dial in on it and make the changes where needed. So guys are, man, they get into squatting and leg pressing, and I see a lot of guys like that. They take on the squatty appearance, by training like powerlifters, big heavy deadlifts.
Right. Once you have the leg size, once you have the leg size, you don't need to keep doing what you did to get the leg size, is what you're saying, essentially, right?
Exactly. Now it's all about cutting, muscle separation, cross striations, all of those different things. The detail, that's what you need once the thigh size is there.
What do you think about this Hadi Shupin guy from Iran? I mean, is he a threat to Rami, or is he a small version?
I tell you what, Hadi was slice and dice last year, man. I love his package, man. Yeah. I mean, he brought it. And I was extremely impressed. Myself and Sean Ray, we just talking about it. Hey man, you talking conditioning, nobody was better than Hadi last year. Nobody. Now, as for shape, I still give that to Brandon Curry. Yeah. And then you're not going to outmatch Rami, as I said.
You always said a good big man beats a good little man every time, right?
Yes, if he got all his ducks in a row, that's just, people like to see big. That's why you got the 212-pound Olympia versus the open class Olympia. Franco and Arnold, Franco could never take down Arnold. That's just the way it is.
What do you think about the new guy, Nick Walker? I mean, he's made a pretty big splash in his first Olympia last year. He's coming back. He took the whole year off. I mean, what do you like about his physique? What do you think he should watch out for about his physique? He's young, obviously.
Nick got to be careful too. He's, as far as muscle, he got tons of muscle all over the place. Yeah. As far as shape, he's got to be careful. He trains a lot like a power lifter. And he's taking that appearance on. The more massive you get with his height, the more squatty your physique becomes.
Gotcha.
Someone is sort of right around on the edge, but not over there, that was a killer, was Branch Warren.
Yes.
Branch was perfect. He was just enough. He had the mass, he had the cross striations, he had the muscle maturity, all of that. But he didn't go overboard. He was spot on with it. So that's one of the things I admired about Branch. But I think Nick got to be very careful. I mean, that's in my opinion.
Right. I think you're right. All right, let's talk about what you got going on. How many years have we been doing this, the Lee Haney games now?
Oh yeah, man. This is the 8th year coming up for the Lee Haney Games.
Wow.
And man, I as I said when I talked to you the other day, I really appreciate RXMuscle, you Dave, being behind us when we first launched the Lee Haney Games. We're at the 8th year now, and man, we've have over 300 athletes from all over the United States that come out to enjoy the event. You know, we got everything from, you know, for ladies, figure, bikini, fitness, wellness. We have the guys. Oh yeah, for ladies too, we got physique. Then for the guys, we got, of course, the bodybuilding event. We got physique. We got classic physique. Name it, we got it. Also, we have a coaches award that we make available to the coaches that bring the best teams and that sort of deal. This year we got Freddie, DJ Freddie is going to be coming in. He also DJ'd at the Olympia this past year.
Yep.
Then we got Bob Chick, the voice of bodybuilding. Bob is going to be there, rocking and rolling for us. So we got an exciting setup.
You're throwing a big party.
Oh,
it's November 12th.
Yeah, it's November the 12th. We're excited about it. High Tech Pharmaceuticals has been with us from day one, and they do a fantastic job backing us up. And, you know, of course, Jan Tanner. Jan is one of my dear friends. She's there. And we have a lot of great people there. Bay and Associates, you know, so one of the guys who started European Health Spa, the Himmelgarden Racing Team is Super Fitness, and which they are the godfathers of the fitness business.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so they're on board as one of our sponsors too. So we're rocking and rolling, man, and just got a great show for everybody to come out. And for the first time, we will have also what is called the Lee Haney Experience. Now,
what is that? Tell us.
That, Dave, is like a Lee Haney museum. For the first time, athletes, fans will get able to see all 8 Mr. Olympia sandals.
I see a couple of them in the backdrop there, right there.
Oh, yeah. I just got a few, but you got to whet everybody's appetite, you know?
Yeah.
But they'll get to see 8 Mr. Olympia sandals by winning from the Teenage America, the Junior Nationals, the NPC Nationals, the IFBB World Championship, and a whole timeline of trophies, photos of my whole career.
Wow.
So, plus a voiceover as they walk through, they'll get to hear me talk about the experience.
Oh, really? You better have an armed guard guarding all that stuff.
Was that?
You better have an armed guard watching over all that stuff. There's going to be a lot of people who collect bodybuilding memorabilia. They'll try to steal that stuff.
Man, I do. Plus, you know what? We have when I trained Evander Holyfield to be the heavyweight champion.
That's right.
As one of the team members in the top one to get the weight on him, I got a beautiful 15 diamond 5-carat gold ring.
Really?
That, I have on display there too when I trained Evander.
He gave that to you?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. That was very generous of him. Holy mackerel.
Hey, man, he became the champ of the world. Hey,
I know. I know. You better not put that ring there. Yeah, someone's going to swipe that ring from you.
Yeah, I think I better wear that one on my finger.
Yeah, you better keep that on your finger, Lee. That's great. Well, what made you decide to start holding your own, bodybuilding event? I mean, because you didn't, for many, many years, you didn't really, you went to events, but you didn't really run your own. Was this because your kids got involved with you?
Well, that's a big part of it there. I'm here in Georgia, and in Georgia, bodybuilding is strong here, but we're still trying to make it even stronger. And so while I'm here, I said, well, you know what? I need to lend my name to a competition that can reach a broad audience of athletes from all over the United States. And at that particular, with the mindset of bringing something first class here. The Lee Haney Games is incredible. It's a family-ran event. My son Joshua is my IT and architect of the event. My daughter Olympia, he's the event planner. My wife Shirley is the chief executive officer, a chief financial officer.
The wife's always on. My wife is the CEO of my life too.
So we got all of that going on, man. There's a whole family deal. The athletes come here, they feel good, And, you know, I have blood in the game, just as you, Dave.
Sure.
We got blood in the game. We know
Absolutely.
how they feel. We want them to enjoy the experience, and we want it to be first class. So we don't hold no stops. We go all out and making it an event to remember. So with athletes and people wanting to register, they can go to LeeHaneyGames.com and sign up now. They can purchase tickets. They can register. And, you know, we, like I say, I want to invite anybody who want to be a part of to come.
All right. Well, it sounds like a great event. And Lee, I'm sure a lot of people, I know I have a lot of clients that I'm training that are actually doing your show. And a lot of them just want to do it because it's the Lee Haney games. They want to see Lee Haney and they want to compete in your backyard there. And so you're doing great stuff for the sport. Obviously, you know, people really respect the fact that you're still involved. You know all the players still. You have a strong opinion. I love talking bodybuilding with you because it's like, you know, I'm talking with a guy that's done it at the highest level, yet he can still break down all the current guys and give his analysis. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate you. Bless you, my brother, and your beautiful family.
Thank you. Bless you too. And thank you for the interview. And that's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With. I'm Dave Palumbo with 8-time Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney. We'll see you next time.